Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Press the look forward button. Oh no, my chest is now in your face. How terrible. I'm sure you absolutely hate that, right? Sure hate it, don't you? Anyway, we're going to be reading some r/letsnotmeet stories today. If you're seeing this on YouTube, I streamed it live at twitch.tv/GownJulius. Come drop me a follow, maybe a subscription. But that'd be better spent on YouTube if I'm being real as membership. Now, first story. Enraged meathead threatened my life at gas pump over delusional priority access. Today I casually went out to the gas station with the best price, and I luckily found a spot in the perfect time. Apparently, though, another not-so-gentle man thought he was entitled to the spot. He absolutely flipped out on me and threatened to off me and beat my ass. I smiled and continued pumping, trying to screen him out. He then raised a fit about how he had priority over me because of his type of fuel, diesel. He got up in my face, threatened to beat my ass. So I pointed the gasoline nozzle at him and replied, naturally cursing at like a sailor, "Get the fuck away from me and my car, or I'll give you some free gas in your face." He tried following me home too, but I knew the back roads too well, and I have a turbo soupy, and I was able to lose him, so that's good. Well, that was one of the shorter stories I've seen. Let me go over and find a longer story. Chased by a man with a knife. Let me just load that up so I can read it. Hello guys. So we went for a hike with my boyfriend for his birthday today. We're not very superstitious people, but we're quite anxious the whole time. We didn't meet anyone on the road, and I was feeling weird, like I was thinking, I know we're gonna meet someone, but that someone, I wasn't chill about it. My boyfriend was a bit nervous, which is unusual of him, as he's very used to hiking pretty much everywhere. So we're 4 hours into the hike, and we reached the end. There was some sort of cabin in the forest, and a guy looking like Tom Hanks in Castaway was there. He jumped out of his cabin, naked with a knife, and began to make grunts. I told my boyfriend he has a knife, and the guy starts to run at us, and my boyfriend told me to run. And I tried to do my best, as I'm not the most sporty girl. I believe I felt a few times because I had a lot of scratches and a bump on the shin, but I didn't feel it in the moment. After what felt like forever trying to run to escape him, we succeeded in finding a way out to a neighborhood and then a road. We felt relief at that moment. My question is, we feel shocked and pretty traumatized by it. Do you feel like it's a serious event or not that big of a deal? Somehow, I don't think this story is real. It's one of those Reddit, it'd be awesome if this was true kind of things. I don't think that story is real. I gotta be honest here. Let's find another one. I think I'm being watched. Ever since I started living at this house, weird things have happened. It regularly sounds like someone is walking on the outside of the house at night, and it's starting to freak me and my roommates out. For some context, this is a college house. 4 girls in our 20s just looking for a fun place to live. And there have been a few different encounters that have led us to this conclusion, and it only continues to fall into place. Let's go back to the summer when the first break-in was. An evening in September, in the middle of the week. The garage has never been used by us other than storage, opened, and one of us was at home with music blasting. She heard it and didn't think anything of it for about 5 minutes. Then later she went upstairs to check and found our garage door open and back door unlocked. Again, we do not use our garage. She looked around and found nothing missing and figured it was an accident. About a month later, we were having a party. It was around Halloween, and we decided to have a costume party around 12 to 1 a.m. Someone was in our backyard and turned to see a man walking up the side of our house. When the man saw him, he ran away up the hill. We also, around this time, had one of our car windows broken. Nothing was stolen, just the window was broken. Last night, while driving around, we noticed the car had seen a drive-by a few times and followed it up the hill. The man in this car, a middle-aged white man with a receding hairline and arms covered in tattoos, comes to a complete stop in the middle of the street and turns around to look at us, then pulls to the side of the road. He waited there for a few minutes, and we waited one street over. We saw him turn left, followed him into the neighborhood in front of ours. We lost sight of him and drove around the neighborhood for a bit more. When driving in front of our house, we were wondering if anyone behind us could see into our rooms. We went to look in the street behind. The house that had direct view into my room happened to have this same car that was driving around our house, sitting right in front of it. This car is very distinct. It's an old white sedan with a black shoe mark on it. We immediately went back to our house and looked out the window at the house and realized we had seen someone there before. On multiple separate occasions, there was a middle-aged man standing in the window looking at our house or sitting in the back porch in a lawn chair facing our house. Last night, it was when we went to bed. My roommate had her window open and heard footsteps, our fence gate open, and our car doors. The footsteps sounded like they were directly outside her window, and I also heard them. Normally I wouldn't jump to conclusions, but I feel like these occurrences just connect too well to be coincidental. If anyone has any ideas or inputs, please let me know. We are genuinely getting scared. I will update you if anything else happens. Update. Yesterday morning, my roommate and I woke up to find that it had snowed, and there were shoe prints outside. These clearly showed the path the person has taken, and exactly what we've been thinking. The footprints appear to start in the neighbor's yard, at the far fence, then come down to the gate right next to our rooms. He walked directly under my roommate's window, and turned around. His back was to the house, which is why we think he's either listening or watching into our windows. The window he was sitting under also just so happens to look right up into my roommate's bed if not closed right. After that, the footprints go towards my room, and he turns back to the neighbor's path on the side of their house. This just confirms what we've already been thinking, and it just happens to be this side. We don't have a camera on. With this, our gate and footstep situation from last month makes perfect sense. The shoe prints are huge, which fits perfectly with a tall man like the one we've seen before, and you can tell the shoe is Nike. If I can figure out how to attach a photo on here, I will, but until then, I can only explain just how terrified we are. No matter what his intentions are, this is a huge man and he could take all of us down. Next update. The white car just turned out to be what we're pretty sure is a neighborhood dealer, because we saw him making a transaction with our neighbor. We honestly don't live in a sketchy area, but this is the first time we've seen something like that. Last update. I am tired of trying to prove my situation, and most of the comments on here have turned negative and degrading. Well, I believe you, OP. I'm sorry to hear you're going through that. Now to find another story. I've got a collarbone to pick. My parents divorced in 2006 when I was 17, when they split right before their 18-year anniversary. It was a long time coming. My dad sustained a head injury 4 years prior, so his drinking and drug use went from a lot to a cyclone of crazy. So my mom risked it and left. Dad left, and we remained in the same house we had moved to from our small town to a small city near our state's capital. It was weird, but the first month he was gone, we had a peace we never knew we could have, and I remember feeling free for the first time in my life until that point. My dad had to be supervised by the state police when he collected his stuff, as he was violent and threatened to off me on several occasions. He never cleaned out the basement but left garbage, and so my mom, myself, and some friends that hung out at the time helped us clean up, and we ended up getting overall $200 back from the beer cans. My friends and I got different furniture, instruments, stereos, and a fridge to put soda and beers in, as we took over the garage and basement. My friends and I discovered my dad had been growing weed in the basement, as he left all of his plants and equipment behind. At the time, it was illegal in my state. My mom has a job where she could get fired and lose her license as well. My friends and I didn't want to get involved with selling any of it, and we honestly were just interested in having fun on our turn. We liked to drink, but beyond that, we never got into anything more. So we threw it all out. My dad had told us he got everything, and that I would have to interact with him. Really, he gave me up during the family court stuff, or so we thought. Our house is on a hill, and borders the actual city, which has alleyway access, which led to the small backyard. The backyard access was outside only, and was kept with a padlock, and the door itself was pretty sturdy. The house was next to a diner and a storage garage, so everything closed after 5 p.m., and there were other houses the street as well, and the main drag that connects you to a small highway. I don't remember when it started, but if I recall, my dad would call our house nightly drunk and accuse my mom of cheating, as he was already living with another woman at this time as well. He would call crying, just belligerent some nights. And then we started having people prowl around the house. It started very subtly until my special needs sister started seeing a ski-masked man at her window. I often would chase someone away with a bat some nights alone by myself, or watch my sister as my mom had to work multiple jobs. I started working as well. I would often wait up most nights and would just patrol, making sure everyone was safe. And most nights, it was nothing. I developed a good layer of trauma from all of this, and a caffeine addiction, as I was always on alert. I had suspected a few of my dad's friends, especially since they were very interested in the basement. I'm also not a small person. I had given up playing football, and trained to play for a D-1 school, so I was still fresh from all of it, and was very strong still. One night in particular, I remember being awoken by my bedroom window being tampered with. I looked and saw a man in a ski mask trying to open my window with a large hunting knife in his mouth. I snuck down on the floor and crawled out of my room and into the living room. I grabbed a Louisville Slugger that I kept by the front door. I got my shoes and jacket on, as it was winter. I snuck outside and confronted the man, who I recognized as one of my dad's friends. He started talking crap and making fun of me. I warned him he needed to leave or I would hurt him. He took a swing at me with his knife, and I pulled back and cracked him on the shoulder as hard as I could, and heard bones break. I watched his shoulder move in an unnatural way as he fell down in the snow. I got on top of him and started punching him over and over, taking the ski mask off. My mom came out, and our neighbors came as well, as he stopped moving and was unconscious. It took my mom and 5 others to pull me off of him, and they had a hard time. As we waited for the cops to come, he came to and managed to get up as he tried to run, but was having a hard time. As the car came, he hopped in and took off before we could stop him. And this was before the doorbells and most people had security systems. We all gave our story and the cops took the knife and that was it. Things were quiet for a while before it started happening again that summer. And I had cornered the same guy in the dark, small yard. He yelled out he wanted his equipment from the basement, and I told him we tossed it and he charged me. I picked up a large garden brick we had piled up back there and tossed it over, and hit him in the same place I did months prior, and I heard bones break again. This time I sat on him as he kicked and screamed. My mom called the cops, and they came and actually arrested him. They told me that I had broken his collarbone, and that he wanted to press charges. Nothing ever came of it, and after which the whole situation ended up blowing over, and it all stopped. My dad admitted he was involved and wasn't sorry that he pitted these men against his kids and ex-wife, which has altered my relationship with him. I saw that man during the pandemic as our city had a lot of public gatherings and such. And while I'm not the same person I was very happy to see him have a level of healthy fear. Also, another one of the guys involved I had run into as well at the same event last year was very cautious about me and referenced that he didn't want me to do what I did to his friend. These guys are one point used to fight and run with rowdy people like my dad, and it felt good to know that as someone who doesn't get violent, that people who do have a healthy fear to never mess with my family or to never break into my home, because there are consequences. That's the end of today's video. If you've seen this on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and all that good stuff. I will see you all next time. Check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/CountJulius if you got a chance. Alright, see ya.